Hey guys, hope you guys are having a great weekend. I actually wanted to take this time to create this video. This will be one of many what I will consider prerequisite videos I will like the students that I will be mentoring soon to watch. The reason being is because I am getting questions asked from all facets of experience. There are traders who are well educated, who want to partake in the mentorship just to fine tune their trading. There are those who have never traded before and would like to learn how to trade. And so to ensure that I can provide as much value as I can during the course of the mentorship and then onwards, I do want to minimize the amount of basic fundamental education that I'm going to have to provide. So this video will be one of those early prerequisite ones where I'm going to touch on some of those fundamental questions that are being asked of me quite often. So this video will be dedicated to talking about what is prop firm trading. So I'm going to go over a few general things, and then also be able to provide some answers around some of the terminologies that you will see as you go to different prop firms. I know also as I'm sharing my screen, I am in the middle of a trade, so this is the reason why I'm leaving it open for now. And if I hit my target, then that's fantastic. Continue going on. This is actually my Apex account, my most OG one that I have actually that I'm building up. So anyways, I'll leave that to the side. But the first thing, I'm pulling up ChatGPT here just to provide a quick responsive answer. You can Google this as well. So basically what prop firm trading is that you're borrowing capital from prop firms to trade with. And so most of the prop firms that we'll see online, some being Tradeify, Apex, My Fund of Futures, Top Step, you name it, the list goes on. There's many. And I can talk about more of that during the one-on-one basis, or you can honestly probably just Google them. But what essentially the process looks like is there is the evaluation phase, there's the sim funded phase, and then there is the live trader phase. And so the three different phases essentially represent the stages of your process with these prop firms. The evaluation is essentially something you'll generally pay or subscribe to, and it'll give you a funded or a an evaluation account where there's usually starting from 50K to 150K. Some have 25K, some go as high as 300K. Now, don't get too bogged down on the total dollar value. It's actually not that important for you to know, as each of the problems will provide what that actually essentially means to you. You're not actually being given $300,000 to trade with. That is not what it means. Again, I'm not going to allude to that too much right at this moment in time. But with that said, the evaluation phase is the first phase. And now, assuming that you pass the evaluation phase, you will then get a certificate saying that you have passed and that you are now moved into their funded phase, which is essentially their simulated fund, which is sim funded. In that phase, there will be rules and all that will be provided to you to meet and a criteria in order for you to be able to get your payouts. Okay, which I'll allude to as well later on. The third thing is assuming that you have proven yourself to be an exceptional trader in the sim funded phase. Every prop firm will have its rules and criteria of what it means to be moved to a live trader situation. But in this case, that will be the next phase. And when you do that, essentially you are actually then borrowing real capital from these prop firms, and you will basically be trading, and any profits that you make, a percentage of it will go towards the prop firms. Again, you can Google this, you can ChatGPT this. The general sense of what prop firm trading is fairly easy to find out with the internet. So I'll just kick it off by covering that. The questions that are going to come up often, though, are going to be the rules and all that come with it. So I pulled up my Tradeify account. So I don't actually have these anymore because I am actually being moved live already. So all these sim funded accounts don't matter really anymore. But I want to go through essentially what you're looking at. So this is an example of a sim funded account. Now you can kind of see here, this is actually one of my strongest sim funded account. And I say it's the strongest because it is the longest standing account that I had before I had gotten moved live actually. And so with this account, you can see I had 89 trading days. Overall profit with this one sim funded account, I made a total of $45,000 in profit. Understanding that is not what has paid out to me. That is just P&L wise how much I achieved with the account. In the journal log, it will show you the profits that I made and lost throughout the course of time with this account. Okay. And so first and foremost, I will pull this up just so that you guys can see. So these are the Tradeify accounts. Now, Tradeify is definitely one of the prop firms that I recommend based on my experience. I have traded about 7 different prop firms. I like Tradeify for a multitude of reasons, but I won't allude too much of that today. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment box or just reach out and give me a shout via social media, Instagram, anything like that, right? Now, with that said, right now, so I'll go into the accounts. So there's advanced accounts, growth accounts, and straight to sim funded. The straight to sim funded essentially skips the evaluation phase and brings you straight to the funded phase, right? And so that's essentially, it bypasses the rigorous part for most people, but it also comes at a cost. As you can see, the difference between, let's just say, 150K straight to funded account, 729 compared to 339 compared to 129, right? So a very big gap difference, but there's also a reason for that, right? For this, you are paying the cost of skipping through all of the evaluation components of things, right? So there's that. Now, why I want to touch on this is that you'll see this in through many different kind of prop firms that you'll see variations of this, but there's a reason for as to why the cost is such a difference. Basically, the harder it is for you to pass the account, the cheaper the account is going to be, and you'll find that in many prop firms, right? The reason why, for example, this 150K account is so much cheaper than the other ones is because what it carries is one of the most toughest thing to work through, which is intraday trailing drawdown. That is one of the toughest types of accounts to trade with. And then I'll explain that a little bit why that is the case, right? The growth accounts with Tradeify, by the way, is actually my preferred ones that I generally recommend for people. I like it because it's a happy medium. It's still an eval, so it's going to be cheaper than buying a straight to sim funded. But when you do pass this account, there is no activation fee, and your profit targets and all that are much easier to achieve in comparison to a straight to sim funded. And so I say that because like when you're actually sim funded phase, your profit target in order for you to get a payout is going to be $5,100. Whereas for straight to sim funded, it'll still be the original $9,000 target that had originally set out for you. So that's the big difference between the different two. Oh, perfect. I got that filled. So I'll close that up now since that trade's done now. Um, Perfect. So actually, no, I'll screen share it this way now. At least now that I know it's done. So anyway, so there's that, right? The other question now, as I'm going to dig in deeper, so I'm just gonna look at my notes here. What are the questions that I've been asked a lot as of lately? Okay, so what is a contract? So you can see here, I'm just going to stick to this just so that's easier to understand. You're able to trade as either 5 minis or 50 micros. You can Google what a micro and a mini is, and I'll tell you exactly what the difference is. Basically, for every 1 mini, it's 10 micros. Okay. And again, you can go over and Google what that exactly means, particularly because it depends on the asset class of whether you're trading ES, NQ, gold, or whatever, right? And then there's the daily loss limit, right? So your daily loss limit basically means that if your account at any point reaches below this number, which in this case is 1,250, it means that then you have to stop trading for the day. It doesn't necessarily mean your account is blown because as you can see here, the max drawdown is 2 grand. But it does mean though for that day at least, you cannot trade anymore on that specific account. That's what the daily loss limit is. Okay. The other comment that's asked is what is intraday trailing drawdown? And so you see that in the advanced accounts here, right? And that's again why they're cheaper. Basically, what the intraday trailing drawdown means is that like your drawdown amount actually kind of it's a moving number. So let's just say that your account's at 50,000. And if your profit were to hit 51,000 while you're still in the trade, so you haven't closed it, you're still in it. The moment you move to 51,000, the base of your drawdown is now 1,000. You might be confused. What does that mean? So normally, if you were to start it off straight out of the 50K account, your drawdown is $2,000, meaning if you breach below 48,000, which is 50,000 minus 2,000, your account will blow. Based on the intraday trailing, though, what that also means is that if you hit 51,000, your new drawdown actually is 49. So it's no longer the 48,000 you started with, it's 49 because the terminology of intraday trailing means that your baseline trails along with your profit target. So basically, as soon as you hit 52,000, then your new baseline is 50,000. So even though, yes, you originally started at 50,000, that's actually your new baseline now. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Again, I'm more than happy to go into further detail, but again, there's a lot of things you can search on resources to kind of answer what that means. But that's actually what makes trailing drawdown accounts very difficult because for traders that are not scalping and are actually trying to hold for those bigger moves, having intraday trailing drawdown could really wreck you. Reason being the fact that even though you could be right on the trade, you could still end up actually blowing the account because of the way that it may have pulled back against you and stopped you out. So that's the kind of intraday trailing. And then what is considered a trading day? So you notice here it says the minimum trading day to pass is one. Now every prop firm is going to be different, okay? But a trading day basically is, as it kind of sounds like, you executing a trade, entering it, and exiting a trade. Now every prop firm will have a little bit of different rules. Some will be okay with you flipping it, as in like, hopping into trade for 3 seconds and pulling out. Some people allow you to do that. Some prop firms, however, will not see too kindly to that. So you might have to hold the trade for at least 10 to 20 seconds before it's counted as a trade. All of this is generally in the FAQ or in the details. So it's important that you read through the information on those specific prop firms. Of course, the students that will be learning and trading with me, I will obviously run through all of these details with you as you have these questions, because I want to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into, because I don't want you wasting money on accounts that may just screw you over, right? So what is the other thing as well? What is consistency rule? So where consistency rule is highlighted here. So you'll notice that the straight to sim funded. So actually every prop, well, no, I shouldn't say every prop firm. Most prop firms will have some form of consistency rule. Now you might ask, what is consistency rule? So in this case, 20%. Okay. If it says 20% is your consistency rule, it basically means that between your trading days, so let's say you're supposed to be trading for 10 days, right? It means that your biggest trading day cannot exceed 20% of the total value. I know that sounds very confusing. If I actually pull this up and I do this, it actually shows you the formula. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see that, for example, on this, it said my biggest day was $324. At the time of this screenshot, it's saying that my total profit is $606 up to this point. So as long as I hit basically, sorry, if I was to go and hit a balance of $1,620, I need to make sure that I don't ever exceed my biggest day of $324. So it's basically your biggest day divided by your P&L, and that equates to your consistency. And so in this case, for those who are using a straight to sim funded account, the easiest way to honestly to go about it, assuming, I don't want to say easy, but the way you would want to go about it, if you have 10 trading days and assuming that you want to trade all the days, right? You essentially want to hit $1,000 or $900. Because if you hit $900 for 10 days straight, that hits 9,000. But that also means your biggest day is $900, right? And so you can kind of base the math on that. I know consistency rule gets very, very confusing. But again, I'm more than happy to go dive deeper into this for students who are asking these questions. But I did want to at least get it out there so you guys understand that there's a reason for this. This is also why some people tend to gear towards problems that don't have consistency rules because it's, less to worry about, which is honestly a whole different other conversation, because with all the different props that I've traded with, the ones that have consistency rules, I'll generally scalp a little bit more, or maybe intraday trail and drawdown, I'll scalp a little bit more. But with prop firms that don't have intraday trailing and don't have consistency, and that would be essentially top step, I'm willing to hold for much bigger moves and bigger size because of the fact that there's not as many restrictions to do so. But again, every single prop firm has its own value. And I think it's important to understand that. And again, for me personally, I will trade differently based on the different props that I'm using, right? Um, and then also the second last question here was, what is the max account? So max accounts is 5. So for those who copy trade, I've been trying to dabble with copy trading a little bit more. It's not really my cup of tea, but essentially, if you want to be able to scale your trades, let's just say you were to buy 5 of these 50K accounts. It basically means that every single time you enter trade with one account, it will take effect to all 5 accounts. So, in theory, instead of making, $500 on one account, you could make $100 on 5 account, and it would give you the same return at the end of it all for the payout purposes, right? Now, where that gets a little dicey as well, and which is why I don't copy trade, is because at the same time, you also got to think about it this way. If you do blow your account, you're not blowing one, you're blowing 5 at a time. And so for me, that I find that tilts me, which is why I don't tend to go that route. But again, I don't want to crap on it, because I know there's a lot of traders out there who are super successful copy trading. So as long as you know yourself well, then, definitely go take that path. And then the cost of subscription. So you see that it says $339 a month. It basically just means that for as long as you hold this account, this eval for say, you're paying that $330 a month. But as soon as you pass and hit the sim funded phase, that basically is gone. Now, is that for every prop firm? That is not the case. Every prop firm is going to be different, right? So it's important that, again, you read the rules for that. Let's see if there's anything else that I'm missing in regards to the prop firm trading conversation. This is Apex. Apex has similar concepts as well. Yeah, I think I touched on most of it. Again, if I missed anything, please feel free to ask the questions. But this is going to be one of many prerequisite videos that I'm going to want my students to take because I really do want you to know some of these fundamental things. And first, and for sure, I'm going to want you to know what prop firms are, because this is the area that I am going to be trading the most and the thing that I have had the most success this year. And I would say probably the most success from a risk ratio perspective in my trading career thus far. And that's about, 2 to 3 years full time. Well, not full time, I should say, but 2 to 3 years of being serious with day trading. So anyways, with that, I'll leave it at that. If there's anything else, give me a shout. If you found this valuable, please drop a like, subscribe. Anything else, just drop a comment down below. If you are looking to scoop up some Tradeify accounts or Apex accounts, actually, I do have affiliate codes with them. So my affiliate code is AZT. If you use those 3 letters, that will automatically give you the best discounts that they offer at that moment in time. Again, thank you so much, guys. Until next time, I'll see you guys around. Sorry, I didn't mean to click it, actually. My apologies. In this account here,